to Cognitions, Speaking the Unspeakable with JP.
And Stacy D.
I am JP Craddock, and that is the one and only Stacy D. Love. You looking good, Stacy. You still got your little going on.
Yeah, my butterfly locks.
Yes, that's what they are.
It's supposed to last 3 months, but I'm not gonna let this stay in my ear for 3 months.
Well, you cut some of them out last week during the show.
Because they was because they were like strangling. I don't like
that. Okay. Well, the butterflies are still flying high. They're looking good.
Flying high. Yeah, they are.
All right, coming up on the show today, after mental health and illnesses in the news, is our question of the day, which is, does my man resent me for making more money than him? Ooh! And if okay, Stacy D, I see you. Okay, I'm not even gonna. I'm waiting to let you comment. And if so, why? And how can this be resolved?
I really want JP. We're gonna
go ahead, Stacy.
How can you resolve it if your man have a problem with you making money? So you're gonna go get you a job making $5 an hour now to make him feel like he's that man? This
comes up. You would be surprised how often this comes up in therapy.
Yes, I have lived it, and I actually talked it over at some of my church members, and we discussed it on Sunday. Yeah, it's serious. Before we even made up what our topic was going to be, we were already discussing it. It's really bad for Black women. I mean, come on now. Hey, if we're married, it's all our money. I mean, that's the type of wife I am. If it's my money, it's all of our money. I mean, it doesn't matter. Help me. Hey, why don't you help me pick out my outfit to go make these mega billions? I mean, we all in this together.
Well, I have noticed over the past 2 decades, I did not have this question come up as much until maybe 10 years ago, which to me speaks to Black women's earning potential has
and it's more than being on the pole. It's more than being on the pole.
The sisters is making money.
We're making that money. We get out here and hustling. We're hungrier than the men more. We're hungry and we're gonna go get it.
This question, because I started thinking about like, how am I getting so many couples coming to therapy for just this specific problem? Like, this is the root of a lot of the conflicts and the drama and everything. We're not going to get into it now, but I think that is something to note, that over the years, this is the benefit of doing therapy for 2 decades. I'm able to see trends and certain changes. And the other thing that I was thinking about is when I think about my own female friends over the past 10 years, when I look at their incomes now, their lifestyle now, compared to when I became a therapist 20 years ago and when they entered into their professions, like, they are making loot. Now, on a little bit of a downside, and the reason why I want us to talk about how this can be addressed and dealt with is because I've also noticed of my female friends whose income has skyrocketed, they're single. And
it's sad. It's sad, it's lonely. It's a bad situation for us Black women. It really, truly is.
Most of them are single. Yes. And in talking to not just clients, but in talking to friends of mine, one of the complaints that they have had, they're happy that they're making all this money now, right? They're like, I'm so happy that my money is right, but it becomes a dating nightmare because even though the men start off saying, I'm okay with this, I'm okay that you drive your Rover, drive your BMW,
drive your two-seater Cadillac. But there's a problem with it.
There ends up being
problem. It ends up being a problem. I mean, a very big problem. Even by me being a therapist, that is the main problem, is that we make more money, and then all the other little stuff be so much bigger because they're dealing with their own issues.
It's really about that financial differential. It becomes a problem. And so I'm glad that we're going to be getting into this today. Okay, what's your check-in, Stacy D? How's things going in Stacy D's world?
Everything is going just fine. Hey, it's the world. I have to put first. I want to say, hey, friend. I don't want none of my other friends getting mad at me because this friend watches me every Thursday in real life time.
Who is that?
It's Michelle Lee. I'm sorry, Michelle. A double beta boo 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 boo. She got married, and I love you. You know, you my bestie to the end.
Oh, bless her heart.
But I cannot pronounce her last name.
Most people who listen to the show in real time, it's like on the radio or YouTube or something. I think the vast majority of people, at least the Facebook audience, I don't know about the YouTube audience, it's different with YouTube for some reason, but the Facebook audience, most of those people watch it over the course of the week. So she watching in real time.
She watches in real time, and I love her for that. It just shows me how my girls got my back, man. Love you to death, Michelle. You know you my rider. Miss you to death. Thank you for all the love that you have been like really showing me these last 2 weeks and things. Boy, she's the best friend. But I love all my other friends. Don't y'all be getting mad and calling me. Well, we're gonna see how many people call me to see if you're really watching me. How about that?
Hold up. You ain't gotta do all that. Ask them to comment. Tell them to comment right now if they watching.
Right now.
If they ain't watching right now. If they don't comment while we doing this show, they need to back up off of you and Michelle.
Back up off me. What's that sound? Back up off me. Back up off me. Y'all feeling really good today, though. No, okay. So remember, Gerald was all upset. What was gonna say? Maybe 5-6 weeks ago, because one of his dear friends died, and the minister was like really sort of cutting everybody off. Okay.
Don't even get me started.
Okay. My pastor, Pastor Star, love you to death. Love my pastor. He discussed this a couple of weeks ago, and it just came back in my mind. He was like, one of the reasons why he tries to cut it short and all that is because he's really getting into, he has a message that that came to him. And this is my pastor. I can't talk about everybody else. I can only talk about mine that, that has cultivated him and that he has to give it. And he doesn't want the mood or the spirit in the house to change. Because now you know what, Gerald, now when your people's up there, the educated people giving their words of comfort, that might have been different. But honey, I done went to some funerals when they are on the pulpit up there cussing, want to talk about how they used to do crack together, how they got in a car chase.
Okay.
And I be rolling.
You talking about ghetto funerals, Stacy?
No, not all of them was ghetto. One wasn't ghetto, and they was going back reminiscing on stuff that she did in her teenage years. Because, like I told my children, we are not having nothing. We're gonna have a graveside visual. Because I want to get burnt up, but they won't allow me to get burnt up. Because I tell them there's nothing but the shell left. My spirit has already left, and I went into them and went into my grandchildren, honey, to make them be better, and I'm looking over them. But since they have this thing about they want me to get buried, I'm just want a graveside visual. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And let her always be the must.
Okay. First That's a quickie funeral, Stacy D.
Yes.
You might need to expand on that a little bit. Okay.
No, I don't want to.
You don't need no quickie funeral, Stacy D. Okay. It's
I just need a quickie funeral. I need quickie because what they gonna say? She did it all, said it all, and seen it all. That's how
they can't sum up the life of Stacy D with that one sentence.
They are. That's all we need. That's all we need. Graveside visual. Have my daughter sing, and she's still alive because my kids swear I'm a little past them. Have her sing, and she's still alive. The eyes on the sparrow. Have the
oh my God.
Five words.
Don't get me started on Eyes on the Sparrow.
I love that song. I love it. And my daughter can sing it, and you know my daughter can sing. She can't sing, she can sing.
That song is so depressing.
I know. They're gonna need to cry since they want them to have me have this. Because I don't want anything. And they pressure me to have that. And we're gonna do that.
Eyes on the Sparrow. Now I got to die before you. I got to die before you.
Well, I'm gonna tell you
I ain't sitting through Eyes on the Sparrow.
My grandma auntie died. She died in 92. She didn't have no friends at the funeral. All was already gone.
They was already dead.
They was already gone. And if it wasn't for my kids, she would have only had a graveside visual. I just think it's senseless. I know people gonna be upset about Stacy D. What the hell are you talking about? But y'all think about it. I think it's senseless.
Here's a little background on what Stacy D is talking about. A few weeks ago, we did a show, and the pastor, I was at a funeral, and the pastor went in his spiel about 2 minutes, and he went on and on and on about it. It was rude, basically. He crossed the line to rudeness in telling people to shut up after 2 minutes, okay? And I'm never like that. And so that's what Stacy D's referencing. And you making a good point that at street funerals, at ghetto funerals, it can get very colorful.
I went to one professional one, and it was a mess too.
Really?
Because even the professional people, they got some street friends. Gerald, you know,
from back in the day. From back in the day.
When we was skipping school one day, and his mama came out the house with the doggone frying pan, beating him upside the head because he got. Come on, out. Guess what, y'all? Guess what? I didn't hit my desk.
Here we go. Another blackout. D, why do you have blackouts every week?
I don't know. It's something.
Because you so hyped up with your crazy self. Okay. Yep. I can understand, but I understand what your preacher's saying, because your preacher, the mood, and he wants to get to his sermon. I still feel like the highlight of the funeral is hearing stories about the person's life. And even if some of your ghetto peeps from back in the day get up and tell an embarrassing story about your mama and the frying pan, that's your life though. Okay, should it go on for 15 minutes? No. Can we at least adjust the 2 minutes though? Like, if it has to be cut off, 2 minutes is not cutting it. That offends people who trying to tell a deep heartfelt story.
Gonna come up? How many people? And then you have to only 5 people up, because like I said, even with the funeral, you have a certain time to get to the burial, or they're going to charge the family more money. And especially if they're getting buried in the national cemetery with the veterans.
I say start the funeral earlier. And you remember back in the day, a funeral was a 2-day process. You had the wake on one day and the funeral the next.
We ain't doing all of that no more.
Why are we squeezing everything into one day and rushing people into the ground? Literally.
Okay, yeah, I need y'all to comment on that. Please, somebody have my back, because JP.
Let me tell you, I'm glad that we brought this up. In my notes to my wife, we going back to 2-day funerals. I'm
No,
having 2 days.
hell
Listen,
no.
Stacy D,
Oh.
I need you to free up 2 days.
2 days? Because remember, the wait was in the night before from 6 to 8.
Yes.
And then the funeral literally started at 10, but they still had another hour, like 9 to 10, was like another wait. It's too much. It's too much.
I'm going back to that. So when I drop dead,
Nadine, don't listen. Now
free
you got
up your schedule.
because you and Nadine gonna be divorced in like 12 years anyway. So you better tell
This woman ain't going nowhere. She ain't going nowhere. Okay. And let me tell you, she gonna be around to spend all that life insurance money. And really, I probably should have a 3-day funeral. Because
hell no. Okay, can we go back to craziness in the news? Because this is about to get too crazy. I got to stop it, y'all. I got to stop. We're not doing 3 days. No.
You are not a day for people.
You're not Aretha Franklin with her. Or how long was her stuff?
Right. Why you gotta be famous?
They had like 5-hour funerals. It was like another concert.
That was too long. That I've nodded off during that Aretha Franklin. That was a little long. But if you divide it up.
Who was the one who was married to Bobby? Whitney Houston. She had a long one too.
One, how do you forget Whitney Houston's name but remember Bobby Brown's name?
Because I'm a New Edition fan.
You clearly. Wait a minute.
Mikey was my boy though. That was my husband when I was a kid.
Have you lost your mind? Between the two of them.
I'm a
Did
new
you just
edition.
say
I'm a new
who
edition.
was that was married to Bobby Brown? Is that what you just said? Because what you should have been saying is who was that was married to Whitney Houston?
I'm a New Edition fan. Just FYI.
Stacy D. Even New Edition fans.
Chicago, California, Texas, because I love me some New Edition.
You did not just say.
Yes, I did.
Who is that?
This
was
is Cognitions. Speaking
this
of
woman sold hundreds of millions of CDs. Hundreds of millions.
Well, we just look at
Bobby Brown sold about 10 CDs on a good day.
Okay, but New Edition now. That's how I remember the New Edition.
Now the Bobby Brown fans are gonna be mad at me. The Bobby Brown fans are gonna be mad at me now.
Sure are. They sure
I'm
are.
a New Edition fan also. And I like Bobby Brown's music, but like you have Whitney Houston and then you have Bobby Brown. Pull it together, Stacy. Okay. Before we get to mental health and illness in the news, I got a quick check-in. Why is my baby, my little Sashi boo, going out of her way to embarrass me in restaurants?
She is who she is. What she do?
She's a terrible two. She's a terrible two. So one day we had to leave the Cheesecake Factory because she decided to turn that mother out.
Cut out. She did that because her auntie Stacy was not at Cheesecake Factory because we've been talking about Cheesecake Factory for 6 months. So bam, you got what you deserve. Next.
Okay, the next incident, I can't even argue with that. If it makes you feel better, we had to get the food to go and leave the Cheesecake Factory because she turned the mother out. We don't know why her mood shifted, okay? This is a moody baby. She was hollering and basically getting me out of this restaurant. Okay, so she loves pancakes. We in IHOP.
Yeah.
Why did my baby lean over and let out a fart loud in IHOP in front of the waitress?
Well, that's natural. That's just natural things. That's natural.
She does this fake belching thing on
her. Fake belch?
my baby on her karaoke machine, she
Oh, I
likes
seen that. Wait a minute, you know she had a concert. Did everybody see her concert? Baby Sasha's concert.
my baby.
Oh, she put it on. She puts it on. Next time she wants to do some outfit changes. She wants to get her like
Listen,
3 outfit changes next time.
that let me tell you, during the intermission on her concerts, she lets out these loud fake belches that I know the neighbors can hear and bust out laughing because this cracks her up.
Well, where's she learn that behavior from? She don't even go to daycare. FYI, people, she doesn't go to daycare. She doesn't go
primitive
to
baby. And let me tell you, all I'm gonna say is I don't belch out loud. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, so 19 is belching.
I ain't saying no names.
It ain't no names. It's only 2 people in the house.
Listen, some other possible suspects are my sister and my brother-in-law, because these are the humans that she's around, okay? Because they don't do that in gymnastics class, so she didn't learn that from other
I didn't know
kids.
she was in gymnastics. How long she been
He just
doing
started
that?
going to gymnastics class. She been belching for weeks, okay? So I ain't saying no names, but somebody who might live in this house might be belching loud, and my baby loves the sound of a loud belch.
Okay.
So our trips to restaurants.
We have a good question of the day, so I really want to get on this.
Okay. Let's get to mental health and illness in the news. Okay. I was watching Dr. Oz, and they were discussing getting people to sign up to participate in clinical trials, specifically for antiviral medications and vaccines. Now, clinical trials are basically trying out newly developed drugs on human subjects. And Oz actually seemed shocked and frustrated, annoyed that people are hesitant to participate in these clinical trials. What? You can't get people to take vaccines that have been through clinical trials and fully approved, and he somehow is shocked that people don't want to weigh in during the experimental phase of the development of vaccines. Dr. Oz, come on, pull it together. I believe
only this real quick, JP.
What?
During my college years.
Did you do clinical trials?
And my first husband. Yeah, we didn't even take the medicine. So y'all need to be careful.
What? Wait a minute. You didn't take the med?
Hell no, we didn't take the med.
Don't they make you take it right then?
They had it in a bag and sent it to us home. Sent it when we went home.
Y'all never took it? You screwed up the results.
We got a check, sure did. We got $500 a piece. And then, and let me tell you something, back in 1987, that was some good money.
Stacy,
you buy a whole car and tag it for $500 a month.
Stacy,
$500, you could pay your rent, your light bill, your water bill, your gas bill, your cable bill, your car note, and your car insurance for $500.
You screwed up the results, Stacy D.
Yeah, and I can't even remember what it was for.
Hopefully it wasn't for a COVID vaccine. Okay. There's a gentleman by the name of Christopher Perez, who, of course, he's in Texas. He received a 1-year sentence for posting on social media that he paid a man with COVID to spread the virus by licking groceries in the grocery store. He later denied actually doing it and said that he was, quote, trying to scare people from the stores in order to stop them from spreading the virus to keep people safe, end of quote. The federal court found this fool guilty of a false hoax related to a biological weapon. Purposely spreading COVID is considered a biological weapon. So, to all of you out there who have COVID, breathe on me. I'm calling the popos and I'm pressing charges because you have brandished a biological weapon. Can you believe this fool posted that he had somebody go through the store? They licking cereal boxes. I wouldn't have believed it. Apparently, it caused a little bit of a panic. Okay, so for those of you out there who want to scare people, please be mindful. If you lie and say you sent a food with COVID into the store to lick the cereal boxes and the canned goods, that's a biological weapon, and you're gonna catch a case. Okay. This is a local story. An Overland Park school teacher warned the students several times. Pay attention to this part, because Stacy D, I got a feeling you're gonna empathize with this parent. But hold on. Warned the students several times to wear his mask properly. Now, he refused. Of course, he's hard-headed. Okay, oppositional and defiant disorder. He refused. So the teacher gave him the option. She gave him an option to either tape his mask to his face or go to the principal's office. Now, the heathen didn't want to go to the principal's office. So him and a few of his cronies, his homies, decided to tape their mask to their face. The teacher got in trouble. The mother said that she, quote, I feel like my son was abused. This was on Fox 4 News. For those of you who are not in this local area, this is not like the regular Fox network that is extremely conservative, although we are talking about a very wealthy county we're talking about a very wealthy county. That's all I'm gonna say. But Fox does have its little affiliate stations. The parent got the teacher in trouble. I do not feel that the teacher should have gotten in trouble because
you gave him choices.
She gave him a choice. Go to the office.
She gave him a choice. Since you talking about me, y'all remember I used to be a principal. You got choice. You had two choices.
Well, the principal basically said that they are going to hold this teacher accountable. They cannot discuss the specifics of reprimands.
I don't like that one. I don't like that one.
She gave him a choice, and he's hard-headed, and he probably has COVID, and he want to breathe it all over everybody. He's a biological weapon.
But what is the procedures when children don't want to wear their masks? What is those procedures?
I guess she should have just sent him to the office. The fact that the boy taped the mask to his face, his decision. Well, one, why is he?
I didn't glue it.
Why is he too dumb to wear the mask properly? I don't understand why he had to take.
At the child being oppositional defiant in the classroom with the teacher. They're not, so they didn't overlook that whole part. No, yeah. I'm not gonna wear my mask. But then his parents might be some crazy non-mask wearing people too. You know, learn behavior here.
It's possible.
Okay, I hope we don't get in trouble again.
I hope not. I keep forgetting that COVID is practically off limits on this show. Okay, I'm gonna say one last thing. General Colin Powell, we have to announce that General Colin Powell passed away from COVID complications despite being vaccinated, but he had a compromised immune system because he was also battling cancer. So this isn't a mental health or illness story. It's just, Colin Powell passed away. And so
Did Betty White die today?
His wife?
Betty White. From the Golden Girls.
Betty White? Please don't tell me Betty White died.
I got something on my news feed that said that, but I was rushing this morning and
I'm not able to. You know what? We're gonna keep it moving because I am not able to handle if Betty White died today.
No,
because I love Betty White.
Not Betty White, WRGHT, the blues singer. Betty White, the Golden Girls.
Yes, Betty White. Who you talking about? There's a blue. I don't know her.
Betty Wright.
Oh, Betty Wright.
Betty
Stacy D. Betty White is 90-something years old, and she better not be dead. Don't look it up, Stacy D. It's gonna throw off the whole show.
Okay. God, she's 99 years old.
That's why she cannot die. She has to make it to 100.
But they say Betty White is older than sliced bread.
That's not funny. Who said that?
I hate Google.
They gonna get cussed out because you don't watch your mouth about Betty White. Okay. Okay, you know there's the Gabby Petito case, right? Yeah. Stacy D real in that ADHD. Betty White's not dead. Stop focusing on the computer. You read people's foul comments about a woman who ain't even dead.
She older than sliced bread. I can't believe somebody say that. Where did sliced bread come in? Sliced bread was July 7, 1928, and she was born between that.
Oh my God.
Stacy D. 1922.
The person literally looked up how old they've been slicing bread.
Yeah, sliced bread.
That's not
1928. She was born in 1922.
Don't let, so if I come across that, whoever you are that said that about Betty, one, you don't look up and age Betty White in a comparison to sliced bread.
She looks good for her age. I don't know what's.
Yes, Betty's kicking it. Okay, let's talk about Gabby Petito. Okay, in the Gabby Petito case, the parents of, because you know they had found her body, we've covered this before, the parents of Brian Laundrie, who are possibly facing obstruction of justice charges for appearing to withhold information on their son's whereabouts throughout this investigation. Well, they decided to assist the FBI in looking for their son in this Florida park reserve, whatever this is. Interestingly, they happened to find his notebook and a backpack. Now, the FBI been out in this jungle or whatever this place is for weeks. They didn't find anything. The parents go out there, they take a quick stroll and find the backpack and a notebook. Okay, so something a little suspicious about that. Anyway, some people, of course, are speculating that they planted it. Their attorney denied it. The FBI found human remains in an area that was previously underwater. So they are suspecting that they have found his body, which would make this a murder-suicide. But because it's in an area that was previously underwater, it's going to take a while to identify the body. It's probably bloated up and, you know, unpleasant and difficult to identify. Stacy D, what are you doing? I'm going to get you some Adderall because I ain't going to be able to do it. I'm going to get you some.
My insurance and I pay for it.
You don't know. You didn't look into it.
Yes, I did. I tried to get the new insurance that King has when I pay for my Adderall. It's really terrible. We need to really talk about the insurance companies. But let's hurry and get to our question of the night.
Your attention deficit is out of control. You still reading about Betty White and the comparison to sliced bread, and then you just rolled all the way off camera.
I thought I heard somebody knock. That's why we didn't get back into the studio. I'm like, who's this cutting my grass? But it wasn't my grass, it was the people next door grass. But they were really close on my line because I don't like other people cutting my grass with their grass because, you know, grass has STDs and I work really hard to make my grass really, really green.
What is this tangent that you are on right now? Did we cover attention deficit hyperactivity disorder? Because you are so distracted. You just told a whole
I don't get my medicine. No, I don't get my medicine no more.
You just told a whole grass cutting story. This, for our listeners, Stacy D is exhibiting tangentiality, which is not even a symptom of ADHD, okay? But your poor concentration is out of control to the point that you exhibited symptoms of something that ain't even included. Tangentiality. Do we need to pause for you to go tell the neighbor to stop cutting the grass?
Well, don't come over on my line, on my property line. Stay on your property line. I don't need you cutting my grass because I only cut. And I know I get some King's nervous about that too because I'm real anal about my grass. I have a thing about grass.
Okay, I hate to go off on this tangent.
Yours look a mess.
Okay, because I don't mean to, for our listeners, do not get sucked into ADHD people's tangents, but I have to respond to this. Stacy D, they're being nice. My neighbors, people cut a strip of our grass every week. Don't stop them. And
they don't take care of their grass like I do. There are diseases in grass, and using your lawnmower on my grass is giving my grass an STD. Because you're cutting your lawnmower, using your lawnmower. Boy, I be on thing about that. I feel like you need to rinse the lawnmower out. So you keep cutting grass down. What?
You are out of control. I ain't never heard of that before. What? Okay. We need to get to the question of the day. We don't even have time for the rest of mental health and illness in the news, even though I had 2 juicy stories.
Oh, just save them for next week because we only got 20 minutes left now.
I'm gonna have to post them on our YouTube site. Okay, let's get to the question of the day. Okay, question of the day. Does my man resent me for making more money than him? And if so, why? And how can this be resolved? Okay. Big money making Black women have had to face up to the fact that there are more of them in the dating pool than there are equal wage earning Black men in the dating pool. This is an increasing phenomenon. Okay, so this puts these big wage earning women in a position where they have to choose between either dating outside of the race or dating Black men who earn less than them. Okay, many women are not up for the backlash of dating outside the race. They're like, I'm not. Did you though? Did you ever, Stacy D? Don't play with me, Stacy D.
I have.
Stacy D.
My race.
When was this? When? Because I don't recall.
In the early 2000s, everything I do in my house don't come out in the light. I mean, but we wasn't even behind closed doors. It was taking me out everywhere, honey. Yeah.
Okay. And I encourage Black women to date outside the race. Okay. But Black women who feel like there's a shortage of equal wage earners, they don't want to date outside the race. And so they're like, I'm going to date, men who may not make as much money as me. Okay. Which I'm all for. I'm all for either one. Date outside the race, okay? Because we need to be seeing beyond, skin color, and we need to be seeing beyond the size of a person's wallet. Okay, now the shift in mentality of these money-making women oftentimes comes easier for them than a shift in mentality for the men who struggle to be in a relationship with a woman who's like big balling. She's making tons of loot. And this is because, I'm gonna explain why. Because when I see couples for this problem in therapy, the women are so angry and they're like, this is stupid and it doesn't make sense. But in a way it does make sense because men, especially Black men, are raised to be providers. They are raised to be providers. They are raised to take care of their family, okay? Meaning to be, taken care of has the unspoken assumption that they will assume the role of breadwinner. Okay, so it's kind of hard for men to feel like they are living up to their responsibility of taking care of their lady if she in fact earns and makes more money than them. It's like, how am I taking care of her if she got all the dang gun money?
I think it's more about the men wanting to feel needed.
Oh,
and they should be happy.
Go ahead on, D. How'd you know that was my next point?
Yeah, that they're not feeling needed. It's, guess what? I want you, but I don't need you, but I want you. And the want should be more than the need. That's what, and that's only Stacy D's words.
Stacy D, you sensed, see, you was up at 2 o'clock in the morning while I was typing up my notes. You sensed that.
No,
That's
because I don't live. I don't live this, JP. I don't live it. I'm living.
Yes.
It. I mean, you know.
Here's what it is. Here's the thoughts behind this is if she earns more money than me, then she is probably able to survive without me, which means she does not need me. How am I taking care of my lady, taking care of my wife, taking care of my family if essentially they do not need me? This is a cognitive distortion. This is a thinking error that in order for you to be taking care of your wife, she has to be financially dependent upon you. Okay. But that's the mentality. Like, I ain't taking care of her. I'm failing to be the man that my mama and my daddy raised me to be.
But
because
you can
this
still
woman
take
don't
care
need
of
me.
other different ways. Emotionally is so much bigger than financially. Knowing that I know that my husband have my back, that I'm his number one woman, you know, and that's what caused a lot of problems with the infidelity, because now they trying to find a woman that needs them to make them feel like that they're still the king of the hill and all of that. Yeah.
Yes,
I tell you, it burns into so many other different problems. Just that one little bitty problem about my money, about my money that
Now,
I worked hard for. I'm up to 3 o'clock in the morning writing papers, going to school, working a full-time job, a part-time job, and taking care of 4 kids. I need your emotional support.
Stacy D, you have skipped all the way forward to the how is this resolved part. Stacy D, okay, everybody. Listeners, Stacy D is presenting the cognitive interventions for moving beyond this antiquated type of thinking. She's ahead of us right now. But you're right, D. You're right. But we gonna get to the how to resolve
this. Because I'm upset. I told you this was gonna be good the other day. So you knew I was ready.
Okay, so this shift in beliefs, as I just called it, antiquated, on male and female roles. This is about roles in a relationship, okay? Gender roles. And like I said, it's been easier for women to make this mental shift than it has been for men. Men oftentimes complain that their women emasculate them with their fat paychecks. Okay, and that's what always comes up in therapy, and that is men's explanation for why they do not make that shift to the pattern of thinking that you are presenting, Stacy D, because they're like, no, I have an issue with her money because she uses her money to emasculate me. She is stripping me of my manhood with her paychecks. Okay, now, what I have noted is that...
okay, now I do want to note this. Now, there are some women that act like that, but there are some women, if you're a godly woman and you have been taught how to be a Proverbs 31 woman, you still doing your cooking, you still doing your cleaning, you're still making your husband, giving him, feeding his self-esteem and letting him know that you're still the head of this house. I am your helpmate. I had, and one time in my family therapy, I had a husband. I'm sorry, JP, but this is really something. But I had
back to the solution to all of this. But go ahead.
Not back to the solution. We were talking about that they are equal, but he is the head of the house and she is your helpmate. Do you know how he visualized this as? I ride the bus and she just need to be in the back of the bus. Yeah, right back to your way of thinking. Yeah. He didn't want a helpmate. Like they riding it together. No, he wanted her in the back of the bus and he's the only one riding the bus. but because
Well,
of her money, it made him feel like he was unable to ride the bus, to drive the bus.
well, what I have noted is that the women in these situations, oftentimes they deny the allegation that they are emasculating their men with their money, and they usually are able to cite their efforts to make their man feel like the man, despite living in a household where they are the top money earner. They earn the highest wage. They essentially are the breadwinner. So that kind of gets into what you are talking about, because now we're getting into some of the solutions and how to resolve this. But I have seen women who are able to cite desperate attempts to not emasculate their man and to help him to see that he's still a man, regardless of her paycheck, and that they do not. Because I'll ask the men, can you give me some examples of how she's using the money to emasculate you? And when I ask that question, I'm giving them a chance to say, well, she used her money to do this and do that and da-da-da. They usually are unable to come up with examples, and the women are able to come up with examples of how they go to the extreme of practically hiding their money and not telling him when they get promoted, because the promotions be coming in. Because you know, once a sister is on the ball, she's on the ball.
She's on the ball.
Half the time, these men don't even know how much the woman makes because she has to hide it, because he can't handle it. He cannot handle the promotions. Okay.
Or check this out. This is a good one too. Like the man is getting so upset that he's wanna, well, babe, can I quit my job and I can go to school and do da 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 da? Yeah, baby, we're gonna make a plan about that. We're gonna make a plan about that. That's when you need to be glad that your queen is making money, because she's able to handle all the bills in the house while you go on your next plan to build you up. But you don't look at that.
Well, because for men who feel as if their manhood is being threatened, that's the last thing they want to do, is quit working, go to school, and have her literally 100% take care of the household. They can't handle that. Okay, let's take a look.
But some have done that though. I done seen it. That was in my family therapy. They did that.
But was that a man who struggled with his wife's income?
Yes.
So he struggled with her income, but he was okay with living off of it while he went to school. You talking about a fool who's a hypocrite. We're not talking about just blatant.
Okay, so we ain't gonna talk about none of the hypocrites.
Well, we ain't talking about people who are just blatantly kind of dumb, Stacy D. Because that's an insult to all the Black men out there who are not just dumb. They are cognitively struggling with this. Okay, let's take a look at the term breadwinner. Okay, because breadwinner in and of itself speaks to a competitive dynamic between men and women, and a competition to run the show, because you earn the most money and hence you pay for the most. And so I like for couples to move away from the term breadwinner, just because it symbolizes competition. There's no winner and no loser in who makes the most money. Yes, like y'all both make money. There you go. Okay.
It's our money. As long as you know how to handle the money and don't be done with the money. It's our money.
Okay, Stacy D. Okay. Here's the thing. When you think about breadwinner, and you think about the households where this is a problem, if you are paying the most, then you are, quote, paying the cost to be the boss. And it's the being the boss part that taps on the male ego, because remember, men are essentially raised to be the boss. And so this is the reason why the men struggle with this. She's paying for more stuff in this house. And they hear that old saying, pay the cost to be the boss. So this woman is basically my boss. I was not raised for this woman to be the boss of me. She ain't the boss of me. Who she what? And the fighting starts, okay? And then they end up,
getting divorced.
therapy. Now, as you said, Stacy, the men have a greater need to be needed, financially and otherwise, than women do. I don't think that women are raised to put themselves in a position where they are needed, whereas men, and when you think about our history in America, going all the way back to the slave plantation, and men, Black men have had to be raised to protect their family and to be the head of their household, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It sends a unspoken message of your family, hence, is going to need you. And so for men who struggle with their woman's income, it goes back to all this money she making, she don't need me. I'm basically ineffective in this household. I could disappear and this woman's going to be fine. And so what has to be challenged is, why do you have to be financially needed in order for you to feel needed? Because I believe that everyone likes feeling needed and feeling important in the lives of their loved ones. It's a problem when it crosses over to, okay, I need for my woman to be financially dependent upon me in order for me to know that she needs me. And then I'm paying the cost. I'm the boss. And Black women who are making fat loot, they're not playing that game. They're not willing to be subservient and financially dependent in that manner. So this becomes a source of great conflict. Okay, now men are raised to be
really bad and unfortunate. It's just really bad and unfortunate.
Well, it really is, but we raise our male and female children differently, because I believe that oftentimes women are raised to be needed as the family caretaker, fulfilling more traditional roles in the family. So the big money-making divas out there, who they are embracing their new role as the big baller, shot calling moneymaker, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and still feeling needed in the more traditional sense of being, a mother and taking care of her children and taking care of the household. And so oftentimes with these couples, she is not expressing a problem with feeling not needed, compared to him, who is not thinking about what you said, Stacy D, is, hey, a man can feel valued. This is basically what I was hearing you say. A man can feel valued in a family without it having to be financial. So most of these women tend to love their role in the family, but what they don't love is how it makes their men feel. The men oftentimes complain, she loves that I'm in this position. She loves that she makes more money than me. But once we get into it, the women are practically miserable. Now, they ain't giving up the job and the money, but they are not enjoying that their man feels emasculated, and they're mainly not enjoying it because he's blaming her for it. Okay, so oftentimes they're, although their men are accusing them of emasculating them with their fat paychecks, I have found that that's not the case. There's these desperate efforts to not do that. Now, their efforts tend to go dismissed because their bank account looms in the background, haunting these men as if it's some sort of silent killer. Because even though the women try to go out of their way to not make their man feel less than, just him knowing that that bank account is there full of loot, more loot than he has,
you have to lie about
it becomes a struggle.
You have to lie.
And so that's when the fighting Yeah. And so let's talk about the solutions. Some of the solutions
We have enough time because we only got 5 minutes.
We got 5 minutes.
Part 2.
We might have to do part 2. One of the solutions is level the playing field by essentially removing her money from the forefront. And the way that I encourage couples to do this is by opening a joint account that is used to take care of the household. And both members of the couple can equally contribute to the joint account, either equally in the exact amount that's put into it or equally in percentage. Because for couples where she makes a ton more than him, they may have to put a percentage of their income into the account because it's still, it's the same impact. 25% of my money and 25% of your money, we still have given up 25%. Now, my 25% may be way less than your 25%, but if that account is used to pay the mortgage and the utilities and buy the kids clothes and everything, that man is then able to feel like he is an equal contributor, despite the fact that his wife has her own separate individual account with tons of money in it. And he can have his separate individual account, but the playing field has been leveled. And so a lot of times when I encourage couples to do that, it brings a lot of relief, because usually what they're doing is they're just paying the bills. And because she makes so much, she's paying bills without him even knowing half the time. And then when he finds out, he's like, okay, you know, put this on our Nebraska Furniture Mart account. And she's like, oh, I paid that off 6 months ago. Sorry, honey, I didn't know. You paid it off? Well, yeah, I mean, you know. And so
here go a good little tip too. And tell me, JP, do you agree with this one? I believe that I'm gonna give you a title. You're the king. And the king should pay the cost to be the king in the house. So therefore, he only has to pay the house note. And then I would pay everything else, all the credit card bills. Oh, that's a whole lot. But
if that's a lot, he's still gonna feel like it's uneven.
Yeah, but he's still paying the cost to be the king up in the castle.
No, he ain't.
Yes,
no, he ain't.
He's paying the castle bill.
If he's paying the mortgage, let's say the mortgage is $1,000. He's paying $1,000 towards the mortgage, and you paying $4,000. You paying $4,000 for everything else. No, he's still gonna feel no. Yeah. But when a couple does a budget and calculates all of their household expenses and figures out how much the two of them need to put into that, then he's able to feel like he's equal, because regardless of how much money she has on her own, he is paying for half of everything coming in and going out of that household. Yeah, I mean, it's a joint account with equal contribution is the fastest, easiest way to remove this problem. And then there really doesn't need to be a lot of discussions about how much money she has in her individual account, because it's.
Don't ask me about my money. And I just think that's disrespectful. Don't ask me about my money. You know, because
why you sound like you said that before.
Yes, King and I deals with this all of the time, and I'm never gonna put my king down. But you know, because I'm a hustler, and I just get out here and get it, and I just don't even let him. You know, you have to lie. You know, it's bad.
It is bad. Okay. Stacy D, we're out of time. We are going to.
I'm getting a divorce. King, I'm leaving. I can't deal with my money. You can't know about my money. I make you feel bad because I make money. I can't deal with this no more.
Don't be asking about her money.
My money. I'm out of here. Yeah.
Everybody, thank you for joining us today. We will do part 2 on this topic. Stacy D's probably still gonna be worked up though, so be ready. But thank you for joining us. And remember, worry about nothing.
And pray about everything, that divorce and everything and the money. Just pray about it. Give it to Jesus.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And God bless.
I'm over this one.